G'day guys, another day, another rework, and Wigfrid is the latest character to get this special treatment. On top of a range of songs that go with her inspiration meter, we also get a bit of a peek into her past, as well as the standard complement of new skins and Twitch drops, all of which we'll be going through in this video. But I want to start with what I get excited about most whenever I see these reworks, and that's the animated short, and this one, in my opinion, is one of the better ones. We learned that Wigfrid was in fact an opera singer back in the day, and I don't know whether to find that hilarious because she's probably got one of the most annoying singing voices in the game, or incredibly sad because coming into the constant caused her to lose the one thing that really defined her in her past life. Wigfrid seems to be falling on some hard times and her career isn't doing as well as it once was. And the majority of this short is Wigfrid reminiscing and reliving one of her operas where she plays a Valkyrie. At the conclusion of this, we see none other than Maxwell making an entrance from the shadows, and like with other characters in the past, Maxwell preys upon Wigfrid's insecurities to get her to follow him into the constant. I had to think about this a bit afterwards, but I'm not sure if she was tricked into going with Maxwell per se. Obviously she couldn't have expected what she would find in the constant, but she gets to live forever as the Valkyrie at the peak of her powers, and I can't say that she would have been overly disappointed by that. And as we see with this update now, she's even been working on her singing. Wigfrid has 7 new battle songs that you can make from the Stagecraft tab to use when fighting bosses and mobs alike, as long as you have enough inspiration, that is. The inspiration meter fills up by fighting creatures. The more damage you do, the faster it will increase, and fighting bosses will fill up the meter 3 times as fast. A new song can be used when your inspiration reaches each of the notches, meaning that you can have at most 3 songs active at any given time. Wigfrid begins to lose inspiration quite rapidly after a fight, so these songs are only really useful when doing battle. Also, when you don't have enough inspiration to use a song, Wigfrid makes this awesome bomp bomp noise, which I love so much. So what do these songs do exactly? The weaponized warble makes weapons last 25% longer, useful for things like thulecite clubs and other weapons that are in limited supply or are difficult to craft. It does not work on weapons that have their durability tied to spoilage, like the handbat, or any of the single-use weapons like darts. The heart-rending ballad gives all nearby players health for every hit they land, and Wigfrid also gets a small addition to the HP that they would have gained naturally. The clear-minded cadenza is the same as the ballad, but for sanity, although you'll notice it requires moon moth wings, meaning you'll need to make a trip to the lunar islands to be able to craft this one. The bel canto of courage halves the sanity drain of bosses and mobs, and my mind immediately goes to Deerclops as a great example of when to use this song. Sadly, you'll need to make a trip into the ruins for this, as it requires a thulecite medallion as part of the crafting recipe. The fireproof falsetto gives players a 33% reduction when taking damage from fire, which doesn't seem very useful to be honest, and combined with the spittlefish requirement, this is most likely one I won't be using at all. These 5 songs work on all nearby players as well as nearby friendly mobs and will occupy a notch on the inspiration meter when used. But there are 2 others that can be used at any time, costing a flat amount of inspiration instead, equivalent to the first notch. The rude interlude causes all nearby creatures to target you, and the starting soliloquy does the opposite, making nearby creatures leave you alone for a short period of time. These 2 songs do not work on bosses, but do work on creatures like grumblebees, and can be very useful when fighting Bee Queen in particular. Overall, I think these abilities are quite solid. They're not overpowered, and Wigfrid is a pretty strong character to begin with, and they're not completely useless either. I personally like the weaponized warble a lot, as I tend to go through dark swords like wartox eating meatballs, and some of the other books have the potential to not only help the team if you're fighting with a group of people, but also give different avenues to fighting bosses, like with the starting soliloquy. And as well as the new abilities, Wigfrid also comes with a new skin set, the Winged Victory, which is not only fitting but looks really cool too. There's also a new backpack skin with a baby beefalo on it, which you can get if you have enough money to buy the new starting pack. And Twitch drops. There's a new telelocator focus skin to go with the telelocator staff skin we got last time, which is great if you use those things. So make sure to pop by your favorite streamer's Twitch channel next time they go live. And you can also find me on Twitch too if you like. And the last thing I want to talk about is this little teaser image we got with the update notes. My first thought was that it looks a little like a clockwork bishop, but I'm not sure if the two will be related. I think it's more likely that it'll be something you can either build on a boat, or I saw one suggestion that it might be placed on top of a celestial fissure to harness that in some way. I don't know, what do you guys think? As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the update as well. Are you happy? Are you disappointed? Who do you think will be next in line? And I'll see you next time. Take care.